is the payment aspect. Now, we've talked about one party really, say, delivering a certain product to another party, or maybe transferring one product to another party, or maybe providing certain services uh, from one party to another party. But that would also come in with consideration. Now, the consideration is what we find in a draft contract as a payment clause. Now, what exactly needs to be captured as part of the payment clause is very, very important, and how you draft that payment clause. Now, a payment clause or a charges clause typically would have certain elements like within what period the payment needs to be made. Then, in case the payment is not made within that period, would the interest be charged? Or in case the payment were still not to be made after a point of time, would the other party have the right to cancel the contract or terminate the contract or suspend the contract? And what are the rights of the parties? So coming to rights and obligations of the parties, it's so important that you also capture that aspect very carefully. And payment is obviously one of the very, very important points related to the right. It is the right of the party to receive the payment because they are providing the other party with certain services or certain software, or transferring a software. So here, when I hopped on the first aspect, which was the the delivery of certain services or delivery of certain software by one party to another party, I also looked at what is he getting in return, which is like a consideration, a payment. So the offer is there from one party that, yeah, I'm offering you certain services or a certain software, but what I'm getting in return is the consideration, is uh, is the consideration in terms of the fees, or the charges, or the payment, and when am I getting it? If I'm not getting it, what are my rights and obligations? So when you look at it from a theoretical aspect, what you've studied in law is just like offer and consideration. Offer, which has been accepted, and then in return is paying you as consideration. So you need to relate the theoretical aspect with the practical aspects again by relating it to a draft contract and looking at what you have studied as your theory in books as a contractor. So combining all these elements, looking at the the key aspects of what comprises a contract, what forms a contract related to the formation of the contract, what is a valid contract, what needs to be part of a valid contract, and what are the clauses which are drafted in a draft sample contract is absolutely essential to understand. And then, as I said, I think once you look at the payment clause, which is a key right of one of the parties, similarly, there would be rights for the other parties who is delivering the, say, a product to another party. So it's vital that we capture the rights, the obligations. If there are rights, there would be obligations. So we need to capture those aspects as well, the rights, obligations of the parties in a draft contract. And what happens if there's a breach of the right? What are the remedies of the parties? So that again, these aspects, again, you'll have to relate it to what you studied in your theory, that is in your contract classes in college. So since this is the first lecture, I think the emphasis would be more on understanding some of the basics, right? So as I insisted on offer, acceptance, payment, consideration, charges,